it's so ridiculous because it's like there are so many people that want to capitalize on this, and shame on Mr. Deer for trying to capitalize on one more person to try to go out and hunt for Bigfoots. There's probably a whole bunch of Bigfoot experts out there, experts that have watched Harry and the Hendersons multiple times just to get a one-up leg up on the actual Bigfoot, Ogopogo, Iceman.
And they have something really special in mind.
Hey everybody, I'm Haussmann Comics. As with me, as always, is my co-host MasterGo.
Hey everybody!
We're watching It's Lithgow to the movies. What did we watch this week?
Woo! Harry and the Hendersons!
Harry and the Hendersons. Not something John Lithgow was known for, which you'd think on his IMDb, his four known fors. You think one of them, it wasn't Third Rock from the Sun, it wasn't Harry and the Hendersons. It was like Terms of Endearment and stuff. Anyway, John
That's
Lithgow,
very odd because Harry and the Hendersons has a very large presence in pop culture.
I kind of thought so. Maybe it was just one of those movies I watched more as a kid because I was familiar with it, but even still, like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have put that together that it was John Lithgow just because I also hadn't seen the movie in 30 years.
Yeah, like I would say that it would be like I would say number one for John Lithgow would be Lord Farquaad from Shrek, and
That
then
wasn't
from
in there
there, see, but that's weird because that's what I would know him for, and then it would be Harry and the Hendersons if I was to do what we do normally. What you got going on over there, Hossie?
I didn't have my.
What's happening with your headphones? Okay, good. Well, your audio just completely cut out, so that's great.
I said I just turned on my headphones. There may have been poor audio quality for the first minute of this. I apologize.
No, to be honest, it was actually better than what it is now.
It's not the first time we've heard that.
Hmm.
You didn't hear yourself
Maybe kind of.
reverbing. Did you hear yourself reverbing back through?
Nope.
Oh, but we might have for my recording here. We're going to stick to this. God, this isn't Haas and Master Go's technical talk. Let's go to the movies.
Let's go to the movies. Come on, we got to break it in here. We got to.
So, Harry and the Hendersons, starring John Lithgow. This was his. I did a quick look through his IMDb there. This was his second leading role, I believe, in a major film after the Manhattan Project. So it's actually his kind of first leading role in a comedy. It wasn't as comedic as I would have you remember, or they would have us remember. But yeah, like
I would say a lot of very vocal expression.
oh no, Lithgow killed it. He killed it as he always does. But like the rest of the cast, like there wasn't anybody really in it that you would recognize. Like we looked up his wife; she didn't do much. The kids are whatever. Supporting cast, like his dad was somebody, but not a huge somebody. He was
A lot of background
Emmett
actors.
Walsh, yeah, and then the doctor guy I recognized from stuff too, but nobody huge, like no huge stars. Despite like Lithgow was not a huge star in '87, which is it is what it is.
Now, the man who played Harry, what was his name?
Kevin Michael Hall, Kevin something Hall. It's the same stuntman that was the Predator.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Not Anthony Michael Hall.
Good Lord.
It's Kevin Michael Hall, Kevin Peter Hall.
Now, the guy who played Harry in this, when we're talking about like visual expression, very, very well expressed in his outfit, in his costume, for all the prosthetic on him. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think that was his face coming through. It was Rick Baker, who did like American Werewolf in London or whatever. So like Rick Baker's huge in the practical effects sphere. So I think there must have been servos and motors. Like I wonder if that was puppeteered off the side, like the Ninja Turtles or Labyrinth. But those were his eyes.
It's all in the eyes. It's all in the eyes and the teeth.
Yeah, as I said while we were watching this, like Harry, the movie holds up. Actually, the movie holds up perfectly fine. Like there was nothing terribly dated about the movie.
No, not at all. The cinematography was fantastic.
Yeah, like most movies from then, it would have been different if cell phones existed or whatnot. But like the effects and everything, we must have watched the high def version that I paid for off Amazon and rented. But like it held up. It looked good. It looked like a modern movie. The sound was good.
I think it was because it was shot in Panavision.
But like Harry was very believable. Like more so than a CG guy would have been. But like there were no limitations of it. Like yeah, as you said, he was very expressive, and I obviously that probably helped John Lithgow play off of it on set.
That's actually something that we bring up in the movie or in the reaction to while we're watching the movie is how we long for kind of those visual effects as opposed to CG or AI animated type of
Yeah,
content.
it would be very interesting. I'd like to live in a world where, like, because there is a place for special effects, computer effects in movies, but like, if these guys would have kept up the technology at the same, like, run them parallel. But it was around
Mhm.
93, like Jurassic Park, where they were like, oh, and Jurassic Park was a perfect hybrid. Like the T-Rex scene in Jurassic Park still holds up, and that was a practical mixed with special effects. Like I think there could have been a good line, but if these practical effects, like Harry, kept up, I think where would they be today? Because this was 87. That's 35
Yeah,
years ago. That's almost 40 years ago.
something that kind of strikes my mind on this is kind of how George Lucas, when it came to Yoda, with all the CG mixed in with it, it made the puppets look worse. So then he decided to choose to
That
go
is
the route
true.
of CG for the next movies.
But no, like episode
Um,
one, Puppet Yoda was by far worse than Puppet Yoda was in Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. It was Frank Oz still, so I don't know what it was. Just that puppet did not hold up. I'm glad they changed it, but I see no reason why with the computers and the remotes and stuff, like Jar Jar Binks didn't need to be a CG character had the technology kept up from Harry. And Harry's Harry, and there's different things to him. But I
yeah.
don't know. I think Harry
I think that
held up.
he definitely did, and in this time frame, so we said it was 87 that this was filmed in,
Yeah, it was
with
released in '87, so it would have
Panovision.
been '86.
A lot of the shots with the scenery. So this was shot in Seattle,
It was set in
Washington.
Seattle. I don't know where it was filmed. The director was
It
Canadian.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of shots of just beautiful nature scenery, the
There was
mountains.
a lot of animals near the road.
There's a lot of animals everywhere throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, actually, animals. There was a message to this film. We'll get to it. Steven Spielberg was actually a uncredited producer on the film. This is interesting. Initially, John Lithgow turned down the role of George due to feeling that the first draft called for George to act too ridiculous.
So maybe this was kind of his way of, if it was like a comedic role, it was more of an actor's take on a comedic role
Well,
as
and that is
opposed to just
something
being
else
like,
that we discussed. Like that's something, especially at this point, like Lithgow, even when he is doing ridiculous stuff later in his career, like Third Rock from the Sun, like Lithgow, like Leslie Nielsen, like he plays it so. Leslie Nielsen plays it straight and dry. Like Lithgow can bring in some of the ridiculousness,
mm.
but he plays it so straight. Like we said that a few times. Like he's sitting here yelling at this Bigfoot, but he's playing it so straight, and that's where the comedy comes from.
Yeah, you could definitely tell like we've got a true actor on our hands, and then when he's taking his craft seriously
Yeah, and that I
to a
think is what you
point
have to
where
do.
it's
Like
like, yeah.
if you do something like some people will be like, oh, and they ham it up and they play it too wacky. But like when you treat even the most ridiculous premise as true, that's where actual comedy can come from. So
I'd
anyway,
like to actually watch something of John Lithgow where he discusses acting. I wonder if there's anything on YouTube or some sort of interviews that he's
there's
done,
all kinds of them.
like screen to reel
Also,
to reel or something.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we mentioned Yoda several times inadvertently. John Lithgow was the voice of Yoda in the Empire Strikes Back radio drama.
You will not need them, your blaster not, nor your lightsaber.
What?
You will not need them. But yours is the decision.
So the film itself opens up. They're in the woods. We meet the Henderson family right away. George is a hunter. He's teaching his son to be a hunter. They kill a rabbit. His wife and daughter are like, ew, guys. And as they're,
Oh yeah, she was very vocal, the daughter
yeah,
of the very first scene.
she was, we'll get to her too. But as they're leaving the woods with the wildlife filled road while the credits roll, they hit something and it was Harry, a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and we also think of it as an animal right off the bat, but then
So did
as soon
they.
as we take that hunting rifle, oh, they get that hunting rifle out,
Yeah.
and John
Well, even John Lithgow's character.
sneakily goes up and he flips it over, and there's his hand.
He sees the hand. He's like, man,
That's
there's his wife, Nancy.
man.
But he initially thinks like, I'm going to make some money off this. It's a dead Bigfoot. They strap it to the roof of the car. he comes to life. You get a good look at Harry's face because they kind of obscured him. He was just this pile of fur. You saw his feet. You saw bit by bit. They reveal his face. They slam on the brakes. They hit him with the car again, kind of, and this time they think he's dead. Again, they bring him back to the house, and then this scene, this one we noticed, like it was beautifully shot. Like it's a movie about a wacky Bigfoot. Like it didn't need to be taken this seriously, but it seemed like everybody did. And then
Hmm.
that scene where George gets up in the middle of the night and Harry's left the garage, he's in the house, he's torn the kitchen apart. It was like filmed almost like a horror film.
Yeah, it was very actually like there was a tenseness that you
There
feel
was,
because as soon as he's coming down with just like that crummy little flashlight,
yeah,
and then once that
one he
flashlight
dropped
hits
the
the ground
flashlight, yeah,
and
and it spun,
it
and the
spins, and then it's just
shadows,
like
and
you get the
you're seeing
shadows.
George's spear, and then you're just catching a shadow of the Harry, and then you cut back to George being like, "What's going on?" And then
That's
again,
yeah.
a piece of, and then you get the full reveal of Harry, and he's just like, "Ah!" And that again, this isn't about the costume. It's not Rick Baker goes to the movies. It's Lithgow to the movies. But that costume, like as I was saying, he looks so lovable
Hmm.
and real. But then at the same time, that same costume can be scary when it needs to be. God,
Yeah, like when you see his expression get to that point, like you kind of see the humanity in his eyes, but then like the
hmm
rest of him is the animalistic side,
well, that's
and it's kind of like, oh God, like I see you, but stay the fuck away from me.
yeah. Well, he is trashing their house, and then that's when
Yeah, and
George
the
does go
whole
and
house.
oh yeah,
Oh man, I feel so
and
bad. Like cost alone.
it's an animal inside. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know his own strength compared to a house, so he's wrecking stuff.
So then
Then
we start to see actually Harry start to get to this point. Now he's not called Harry at this point in the
no,
movie, but we
no,
do see him starting to notice animals around the
yeah,
house.
'cause George is an outdoorsman, a hunter. So yeah, Harry takes like a mink scarf and goes and buries it in the yard. He's taking a deer. That's actually heartbreaking almost when he sees the deer head on the wall and he's reaching around for the back and he realizes that
There's nothing back there.
yeah, and then that's when you start to realize oh, there's going to be a bit of a message, and it wasn't too heavy-handed. The message,
No, the messaging wasn't really bad. I would say the product placement was the heavy-handedness in this whole
yeah,
movie.
Maxwell House, Cheerios,
Pepsi,
Pepsi, Sony.
Cheerios, Pepsi, yeah,
But
Sony.
then yeah, George is like, well, I gotta put this guy down, and then he's looking at him through the scope, got it right between his eyes, and that's when he sees his eyes, as you mentioned, and that's when
Yeah.
John Lithgow was like, oh, okay, like this guy is not a monster.
Yeah, you see and you have that fear and you're with him. You're with him through this whole point, and then as soon as he sees him, it's almost like just this dialed down effect where it's like all of a sudden now you're kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
let's take a step back. Let's reassess this.
yeah, and reassessing it's while Harry was being aggressive, he wasn't being aggressive towards any of them. They weren't really
No.
in any danger. He was just upset about the death of wildlife and wanted to bury it and rectify it properly. Goldfish
I would say
aside.
at this point in the movie, the biggest effect of threat would be the son. He was psychotic at the very beginning of the movie.
Well, yeah, he was very
He
much,
was a gun nut.
and that was I feel like that was a subplot that wasn't quite. It was touched upon for one or two lines because it was like George always wanted to draw. His dad owned this hunting shop. His dad, who was 10 years older than him, the actor, but his dad wanted him to be this hunter and stuff like that. And they did mention one line like, "Oh, like you're doing with Ernie," and he's kind of like, "Yeah." And I think that
Yeah,
was it. Like
Ernie kind of
Ernie, because
goes.
you'll see it a bit more in your son as he gets older. I've seen it in my son. You see it in other kids. Like they want to have that bonding with their father over what their father. And because Lithgow bonded with his father, probably over hunting, Ernie is over emphatic about like, "Hey, I killed this rabbit, Dad." Right?
Oh, that's very true. Actually, I never really thought about it like that. I just assumed that he was just like, gun crazy, as most kids were back in the day, especially. Well,
No.
maybe even today. But it would seem like it was very much like I want to just like kill everything. I want to see, like, I want to shoot. I want to. But then, yeah, you're right,
Yeah,
because his dad is
his
kind
dad
of
is his
living
dad
out
works at a
this.
hunting shop. Yeah, his dad
Yeah,
has all
so
the
his
stuff on the
dad.
wall.
Yeah, and one of the things that you realize at this point too, well, actually not at this point, but later on in the movie, you do realize that he doesn't really want to be that guy. He wants to be the artist. He wants to be like he
George
wants
does.
to
Yes.
express himself, you know. And so George has this idea where it's like, yeah, he's working for his dad, But then maybe as we're seeing it through his son, we're actually seeing his son kind of get from a more hardish style at the very beginning of the movie as like a little, potty mouth brat to feeling for
Because
Harry and feeling for like the family bond.
the son there is one of the first ones to turn around to come around to Harry.
Hmm.
But yeah, like you mentioned,
Interesting.
I
Yeah,
think
good
that whole
show. Yeah.
subplot could have been like we picked up on it obviously, but I think it could have been a bit more in there, like because there's one line at the beginning like, "Oh, watch my drawings," and then that's really it until he starts drawing towards the end. Like, "Oh man,
True.
Dad, did you do this?" So
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Good.
yeah,
It's a
uh,
lot of foreshadowing, I guess, in some
yeah,
aspects.
and then from there we got hijinks, I guess, of George in the house, and that's what my memory was the whole movie was just like Harry wrecking up the house with these misunderstandings, but that was really only like a few minutes, one day, and then they tried to take
Yeah.
him back to the woods, and he ran away.
Something that I also noticed throughout this part too of like this whole movie, I feel you on that, is that it always felt like it was like one of those stories where you introduce the character creates hijinks. There's a little bit of a subplot of like, oh, the character is misunderstood and isn't accepted by the family, but then later on is. And then at the very end, I've always felt like there was like that point where it's like, no, go on, get out of here. But there was more to it after the fact. So I
Hmm.
think that there's like this conception of like this idea of how this was a very liminal kind of movie to appeal to the masses, but in reality, it actually did have a lot of messaging and a lot of heartfelt story behind it, and we
Yeah,
don't catch that when we're younger.
no, like I essentially remembered it, and I made reference to it like it's like an episode of Alf. Like there's this big hairy
Yeah.
outsider. They're trying to keep it secret. There's hijinks, but no, there was a lot more to it. Like first and foremost
Hmm.
being the hey, let's not kill things, which again wasn't heavy-handed. Well, like not
And
kill
something
back, but he buried a roast beef towards the end.
Yeah, something else that I also noticed is that there was a point throughout the movie where I was missing Harry. There was like he wasn't in
There
shots.
was
He
a
was
good
kind of
chunk of time
off.
without Harry, and that was when Harry ran away. We more got to see John Lithgow, George, and the family dealing with Harry being gone, which he'd only been with them for a day at this point, and he
Mhm.
ran away. But then, yeah, when we did get to see Harry was showing up here and there and learning about humanity. He couldn't cross the road to get back to the wild, and he was terrorizing people. And then that was a big thing too, which is actually Jesus, a very timely commentary on American geopolitics, I guess. Just the fear right away of somebody not understanding what he is, and everybody wanted to shoot him. And George works at this gun shop, and everybody was just going crazy buying guns.
Yeah.
And even his dad was like, "You got to draw me a picture of a big scary Sasquatch drooling and fangs, and we're gonna dredge up a bunch of fear to sell more guns."
That
And
seems to be
then
like kind of like the main core concept, right? It's like you say, like it's that point where there was like the few sightings throughout like the condo complexes and whatnot where
yeah,
they saw him, and like even like the cops saw him, and that just like created this fear orb
well,
around the entire
for a
city.
while nobody was taking it seriously. They were all treating it like a joke, like, "Oh, did you hear about that Bigfoot sighting?" And then as more and more sightings came, then it became the fear.
Started ramping up. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you really see that here, like at that point where they're out at the gun shop and they're all clamoring around getting all the weapons and stuff, is it's just like
yeah, because like
that's
it's
just it. Here's your preconceived notion of what that fear is. Like you're afraid of what you don't understand, and so you go full balls to the wall to try to destroy that or to capture it or get rid of it.
yeah.
But in actuality, there was nothing to be afraid of.
Even that one biker that saw Harry and wiped out, but then the news was like, "Oh, you were attacked by this creature," and he was like, "Yeah, of course I was." And then George intervened in the news site there and was like, "No, you saw him, got scared, and you wiped out and hurt yourself, didn't you?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Mm,
And of course, that got George
yeah,
on the news because George had been looking for Harry this whole time. And there's a hunter. There's the French hunter the whole time who has been after
the Green
George
Beret.
or been after Harry for years. Yeah, Lafleur.
Wasn't actually Lafleur, but it wasn't actually a green beret. He was just
It was a
French and he was
black
wearing a
beret.
beret.
Yeah, he did turn out to be French. Just typical
I am
French
kind
type
of
of hunter.
missing the beret though when I said, he kind of has that peanut head. He's got a very
Yeah, when he took
peanut
the,
shaped head.
he was bald and he had a peanut shaped head apparently. So then there's also him, and then he had a guy who used to be friends with him, the scientist, Doctor. something Wood. I can't remember his name, but he became just the kook that ran the Bigfoot shop on the side of the highway. So he
Hmm.
was there, and
The
these are the only
museum.
people that kind of believe. But even that, the old guy's like, I've thrown my entire life away chasing Bigfoot, and he's not real, so just don't. And George reaches out to him to say, hey, uh, do you have any information on Bigfoot? I don't want him to get hurt. And the guy's like,
Yeah,
you're crazy.
hypothetically.
Yeah. If you haven't
Yeah,
seen
there
Harry and the
is
Hendersons, there's a lot more to it than I recalled.
I
Um,
kind of am glad that he wasn't so much of like, because like even at that point where you see him, he's at the house and he's kind of bonding with the fact that now he's seen Harry and he's like
yeah,
all infatuated with the
he turned
idea that
around
he's
real quick
there. He turned around real quick, but
because he was just like,
he wasn't as evil as LaFleur was. He wasn't
no,
as blood hungry for it.
he
He
was the
he was in the
scientist, not the hunter,
understanding.
right?
Yeah. And usually like in these movies, you'll always have like the one or two guys that are like, "Oh, I'm sneaky, heavy-handed, and I'm going to do something." And even
Wile E.
to a
Coyote.
point where like he left the house to go get his sleeping bags and everything. You're kind of like, "Well, wait, that's weird. Why would you just like leave the house?" But he comes back with the sleeping bag because he wants to be there with Harry. He wants to like,
Yeah. He's
experience
like,
what
in the
he's
morning, we're
been
going to take
chasing
him
for
back out.
years.
Now, the part
Yeah,
we're
so it
skipping
wasn't
over
as bad.
was when George found Harry. Like, Harry was just loose. He wound up downtown, and then all hell broke loose. The police,
Hmm.
once once police saw Harry, they were like, "Oh crap!" And they like sent out all these, and then there were all these other people in the streets. Like, this is where it kind of became a different movie, and then didn't go in that direction, but it could have, because there were like Rambo people, vigilantes in the street looking for him, and then the cops were fully armed in the street, and then George
Yeah.
was out looking for him, and the hunter was out looking for him, and there's that old dumpster scene. But like that part of the movie could have gone on a lot longer and been a lot bigger, but there weren't like two or three gunshots in the whole scene, but it was just
Yeah, it was a big chase. It was a huge thing, right? The town literally had turned into the war zone that the cop
the
had
cop had
alluded to at the
foreshadowed
very
earlier. Yeah.
beginning.
But like all in all, there was like an hour without Harry and no Hendersons, or the Hendersons without Harry.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
there's
then they
quite a
brought
lot
him
actually.
back to the house where they met with the doctor, and then there were more hijinks because Harry had been in a dumpster, so they cleaned them all up. And the Adams family, for whatever reason,
Yeah, they were watching TV while they were kind of like cleaning him up and
uh,
blow drying his hair because he
and
was
then
just too stinky.
he was too stinky. At that point, they were kind of showing Harry was more tame than he had been the first time, even though he still jumped through and fell through the basement. But
Oh God, that poor house.
that house got ripped.
It was a very lovely house too.
It was a nice little
Oh
house.
man,
For some reason, my memory of it was more of the Father of the Bride, like a giant house, but it wasn't.
I was kind of feeling like Beethoven, just like
Yeah,
that
no, but it
classic
wasn't. It was just a
Americana
small
family
little.
house.
Yeah, John Lithgow nailed it. Obviously, I don't mean to be. I don't know what I mean to be or not, but like it's one of those things. As he said, like I guess he turned down the script because it was ridiculous, and he could have played it ridiculous, but he chose to just play it straight, and I think that is what makes the film.
This is why I have such a strong admiration for John, is because just kind of like even when it came to dealing, it might have been a bit of a rough movie, but it's what John puts into his acting that it makes it more than what it should be.
Yeah, like you just bring an honesty to every role.
He's
And
an
like I said, like
honest actor.
he was doing a
He's the
lot with his.
last American actor, in my opinion.
Yeah. But no, you can just see how like other people, like if it were Eddie Murphy, I don't know why, or who else it could have been, would just be like, "Oh, no, but just to play it so
Yeah,
straight." And the daughter
yeah,
as
no,
well.
he.
The wife was like whatever, the kid was whatever. The daughter
So
was just
the
she was
daughter was
15,
a solid actress.
yeah, or she was just a real bitch and did a good job of playing herself. But she was just this 15-year-old girl who's like, I don't want. Like when Harry comes back, she's like, "Oh, I knew it was you. I could smell you." Like she just,
Yeah, the eye rolls, the
yeah,
the the body language was just on point.
really good 15-year-old girl snark.
And even the boy too, like
The boy was
the little
great
guy,
for
his
what he
acting
was.
was fantastic.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
really being that annoying younger brother, like the girl's gonna puke, and he's like, "Oh, she's gonna chuck" or whatever. I can't remember what he said. It was great. Like he was really
And
good.
so we also mentioned that the mom, like she seemed like she was in other movies. Like I look at her and I'm like, where do I know you from? Like,
There were
where do I see you? And
times where they chose scenes where it almost seemed like they were filming another movie with her, where she was having a mental breakdown over all of this.
yeah, but
Like, I'm curious if there
she's
was cut
not a very
subplot.
well-known actress in her
No,
own right. Like,
she's
she's
not
been in
done
a
much.
handful of things, but I did make mention that she has a little tinge of Cameron Diaz
You
attached to
did.
her.
I felt more Meredith Baxter, but that's the other thing is
Mm.
like it was a fairly unknown cast, and I don't like John Lithgow. I don't know when John Lithgow would have started to become a bigger name. Like I said, this is only his real second lead role in a film.
Okay, when we talk about bigger names, like I mean, as an actor, top notch. As a Hollywood A-lister, I would say that he is not.
No, but
Like
we know who
that's
he is. I'm just saying, like, it was
we know who he
80,
is.
86, 87. It could have been Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Robin Williams, Denzel Washington, I think, around this time, right? Like,
Yeah, like a lot of names could have attached themselves to this, and could this have been a movie
it
that
would have been
was?
vastly different.
It would have been 100%. And I think that, like, just as we stated before, it's the acting prowess that we've got here, where it's not over the top, it's not underperformed. It is exactly what it should be. Oh, and I would be remiss to giving up the acknowledgments to the dog in the movie. What was his name? Little Joe?
Little
Little
Bob
John?
or something. There was the neighbor as
Little
well
Bob?
from Big Fat Greek Wedding, and she was just like the nosy neighbor. I feel like
Yeah,
there was something between her and the hunter that might have showed up. But yeah, and that was
it could have been.
where they kind of learned about it. Like, uh, the dog was barking, and Harry was like, "Oh," and they're like, "No, no, pet the dog," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And similarly for the dog
Yeah,
and the son, when the first time they were going to be like, we're taking him out to the woods, and the son was like, "Oh, okay, I guess we just give away our loved ones," and he throws the dog outside.
and then
Oh,
the dog just
also,
goes and
and the dog comes
roams with the
back.
other
Yeah, it's
dogs
like,
around the
oh, and that's
neighborhood.
like that was there were just random dogs all over the neighborhood a few
It's
times.
everywhere.
I don't know, was that supposed to be a subplot of these dogs being attracted to Bigfoot, or I thought at first they were the neighbors' dogs, but they're just random dogs all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, we could have kind of like linked it up with all of the animals that you see at the very beginning of the movie, where we're sitting there saying like, man, there is a lot of animals on
There
just
was
on
a
the sides of the road.
cougar on the side of the road. There was a bear on the side of the road. There was a possum. There was a squirrel. A Bigfoot, obviously.
And there's lots of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's actually like if we're kind of bringing it to the shock value of like, oh, I did not even recognize this. I don't think I ever remember this or anything. But so towards the end of the movie where we have like that moment where George has to basically be the savior of the story, and
Well,
Harry
yeah.
doesn't want to leave, he doesn't want to go, but
No.
then
Well,
you have to be tough, and you have to, you know, you got to get out of here. You got to go.
there was that.
I
So,
always thought that that was the end of the story,
oh,
but
there's more after that.
that wasn't. There's more after that, and then you get to a point where all of a sudden, oh shit, there's a lot more of them.
I'm glad there was. We'll get to that right now. So the hunter, Lafleur, shows up, and they're with the doctor now, and they're like, we got to take Harry out of town and let him go back. He doesn't belong in the town. So they take him, and this is what you're referring to. We're going to get some good Lithgow acting. They went,
Sorry, I
took the
just thought
dog.
I heard a beep. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a beef. It's established. I'll deal with it eventually. Anyway, they go out of town and they go to release Harry, and Harry obviously doesn't want to go. And this is like probably the most famous scene where, yeah, and John Lithgow just plays it so serious, straight, raw, and you feel the hurt that George has to do this to Harry, and he has to slap him and tell him, "We don't want you here. You have to go." And he does. He smacks
You
him.
don't see that in movies these days.
Uh,
You
no,
don't see, well, like you honestly don't. You don't see like those thought-provoking, challenging moments in a movie where it's like it's that tough love kind of thing. I don't
yeah,
really notice this in a
you've
lot of movies where it comes to
seen
like,
it. I feel like there's other ones like a dog. I'm thinking somebody trying to get rid of a dog, but like, yeah, it's not common, and it's like it's for his own good though. Like he can't say to say the hunter will get them, and George gets sad, and again, you can see the emotion in this suit, and he gets sad and walks
mhm,
away. But then they realize because that's where you thought the movie ended, but no, there's footprints,
yeah.
and the hunter's going to follow the footprints. So they work with their doctor. They put on the plaster casts on their feet, and the family all starts stomping their own trails, so the Lafleur can't follow the trails. And that's when this is the part I was glad was in there. George is up in a tree with a bunch of pigeon puppets on his arm, but he looks down and he sees Harry. Harry's in the tree and he sees George making these footprints, and he's smart enough to put it together. He's like, oh, and he feels his face where he was slapped, and he's like, oh, and he kind of smiles. He's like, he's down there protecting
This
me.
is
He sent
why.
me away to protect me. Okay, and I'm glad that moment
Now
was
I'm going to
there.
protect him.
Yes, because
Because
he did.
LaFleur could have just as easily had shot
He was going to.
George.
There was rustling in the trees, and Lafleur took aim, so Harry jumped down. Didn't squash him
Hmm.
as you were hoping, but
Yeah, it looked like he was about to squish him, but
and then there's more. Yeah, there's a whole back and forth with Lafleur just shooting every tree in sight while George runs around. And maybe that wasn't. Maybe that was multiple Bigfoots running around, as we reveal in a minute. Um, but then George gets his hands on the hunter, and the hunter is like fighting, shit, and fighting for his life, and George isn't because he's never been violent towards anything but the house. And even that wasn't violence. That was just dope, 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 push this out of my way, like he would a tree branch, right? Just pushes
just as
through
you would
things
with
because
your
he's not.
family members.
No, he's not used to solid structure. But the hunter is just fighting for dear life, and Harry is like, no, no. And then that's when he's just sitting there with a dollar bill for some reason. There must have been a deleted scene. He's got the
A
hunter just
deleted scene
he's
of
holding him on the roof,
money.
and then that's when George loses his shit and's like, "You're not gonna
No!
hurt him," and he's slamming him into the car, being like, "You're not gonna kill George." And then George
I'll
puts his
kill
hand out.
you!
Yeah, he did say he was gonna kill him. George puts his hand out and stops the hunter, and then Harry, sorry, puts his hand out, stops the hunter. He holds back George and was like, "No." And that's even the hunter at that point is starting to realize, like, okay, like this guy is peaceful.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting how the hunter's tone changed real fast because originally he was going to be like, no, like I've worked too hard on this. I can't just give up now, to seeing George just like lose it on him. And then that's when he's just like, oh God, I'm going to die by the hand of a man as opposed to the hand of this beast.
Yeah, it was somebody because
And
he was
then
like,
he's
"Please
like,
don't let him kill me.
oh
Please don't let him kill
God.
me." We didn't know who he was talking about, and it was Harry that saved him. And
Hmm.
then that's when he gets the chance to see Harry for what he is, and he's just like, "Oh." He didn't learn completely because he was like, "Oh well, maybe I'll go after Loch Ness, I guess." It was a joke, but it much more implied there. But he's like, but it was the whole thing is like just give peace a chance. You don't need violence.
And you don't need to eat meat, but apparently you need to eat goldfish.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna stop eating meat because of Harry and the Hendersons, but and I'm not a violent person. Like I think there is not always a need for violence. I don't believe any animal needs to die just so I can eat it. So I'm not a big, except for fish. I'm not a big hunter, but I like
And
I eat meat.
in the comment section don't talk, well, you'll eat fast food. Well, fast food isn't real food to begin with.
Yeah, no,
So
I'll eat
eh.
meat. My brother-in-law
No,
chicken
but
dinner. I will have some of that.
it
Like I'll eat meat.
it is a moment of like understanding that it's like to an extent, right? So in this here, you look at through George's house, and it is just filled to the
It was
gills
a lot.
with trophy hunts and tons of things, different types of animals and stuff. And it's just like I think the idea here is like live within your means, don't be violent. You know, like I mean, here in this case, you look at fucking George and or sorry, Harry, and he's
Hard.
fuck man, this George and Harry name is like too much. But Harry, he's like all about eating all these like plants and everything, but then all of a
Mhm.
sudden just like downs a goldfish. Like, okay, well I guess like we're
He's a
still okay with it.
pescatarian. Fish don't
But then
think
yet
the
but
same.
yeah, but then he'll go after all like the snack foods and everything else when they're trying to lure him into the vehicle, which had me a little confused because I
There were
thought that they
fish
had
burgers.
sleeping pills in the food, but it was actually burgers and fish
Yeah, he had a
burgers
bunch
and
of
stuff.
burgers, and he
And
give him a hamburger, and he looks at it. He's like, "Oh no," but he's like, "Oh wait," and he gives him the fish burger, and he's like, "Yep." So there was, I guess, that running theme of the fish.
yeah, I guess so.
But it was
Hey,
just the
so I
whole thing.
guess it
Like
really
even
was the
still,
case where he just doesn't want to eat meat, but fish, he's
yeah,
all right.
we don't know how many close calls Lafleur had with Harry. I assume there was a few, and it's just this whole thing of like, no, this guy's been hunting me for my entire life, maybe, and shooting at me, and it's just still, even still, I got him. I'm holding him. He is punching me and swinging me. Violence is not the answer. Harry knows. So it's a good message. It's a good movie. It holds up.
Yeah.
Do you
All
think
around, it was a fantastic movie. I wouldn't have given it a second thought unless we were doing Lithgow to the movies.
It's something I watched in my childhood, and I think I should have revisited at some point. I'm glad I did. On a whole, I give it like a 6 out of 10. It's not essential viewing. Do you think people who haven't seen it should go
No,
out of their way to see it?
I would say that if you're living on a weekend, like a Saturday or even a Sunday afternoon, and you want some light watch, and you want to go back to the old days where movies were
Yeah,
movies, then this would be a good one to
it's like
watch.
it's a winter movie. You're stuck inside, and it's on TV. Go for it. It's like The Great Outdoors or something, right? Like,
Yeah, if it's on TBS, don't watch it because they cut a lot of stuff out of
yeah,
movies.
but no, it
But
is
this
like
one
I
here,
think don't go out of your way for it, but it's definitely um. If you think now, if they were to remake Harry and the Hendersons,
mm,
what role do you see John Lithgow playing in the remake?
definitely the dad, the dad
Really?
in the gun shop.
No.
Yeah,
See, I would give him the doctor, the scientist
or the
guy.
next door neighbor.
No, I would have him be the scientist
He
that comes dinner. I think that's a good Lithgow role.
he has to have just a quick cameo. You have
No,
to, if you're gonna remake this, you're gonna have to make it stand on its own legs. You're gonna have to make it as the magic captured from back in the day, which I don't know you
they
can do
never would.
anymore.
It would be a CG abomination. They would lean into the wackiness and the
I
zaniness.
know.
Like this shouldn't not
I just
be
don't
remade.
understand it. No, it should not, but
Yeah,
it will
it
eventually,
was
just like
there.
Alf.
Uh, Alf will never be remade. Paul Fusco will never let that happen. But there
We
was a
we all got
TV
so much time
series.
on this earth.
There was a there was a Harry and the Hendersons TV series. John Lithgow did not return for it, but Harry did,
Hmm.
and it was just yeah undid. Oh, because at the end, sorry, the very end, Harry walks off into the woods, and three more big feet were hiding in the scene to
And a
show he's
baby.
not alone. Yeah, well, it's two adults and a baby.
No, there's three adults. There was three of
Well,
them. There was one on the
Harry
left,
and
one
the
on the
other
right,
two.
one in the middle.
No, the baby was in the middle. Harry was one of them. At the end, there were 4 or 5 Bigfoots. But yeah, and then that
This
gets
I don't
undone in the
remember.
TV series.
Oh, does it? Is he only like by himself?
Well, just the fact that he's
I
off in
always
the woods
that's
gets
why I said
undone
it's like
because he come and live with them.
it's a funny thing because it's like kind of like Harry's just kind of going on like it's kind of like, oh, I left my family in the Finger Lakes. Like it's just like I left my family to go off on this little adventure
Well,
for a
that's the
weekend, and here I
thing.
am.
Then what
That's why I said
family was
weekend at
that? Was
Bernie's.
that his brother's family? Was that his mom, dad, and younger sibling? Like Harry had gray hair, so I kind of think of him as not a teenager, but I could see it. But here we go. There was a Harry and the Hendersons TV series.
And that's another thing too, is like it's so ridiculous because it's like there are so many people that want to capitalize on this, and shame on Mr. Deere for trying to capitalize on one more person to try to go out and hunt for Bigfoots. We actually mentioned this, is that there's probably a whole bunch of Bigfoot experts out there, experts that have watched Harry and the Hendersons multiple times just to get a one up leg up on the actual Bigfoot, Ogopogo, Iceman. It's
No,
irresponsible.
yeah. I did wonder if because I have an irrational fear of Bigfoot, and I wondered if this seeing this movie at a young age played into it, but nothing was triggered.
Wait,
So no.
I said Ogopogo. Wasn't Ogopogo like the sea
Ogopogo's a lake
monster?
monster in the Okanagan, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Never mind. Sorry.
Chupacabra.
Apologies. Chupacabra. Yeah.
Chupacabra.
Uh, Wendigo.
Yeah. Wendigo. Anyway, that's
We
been
should. You know what we should do? You know what we should do, Hossie? Is we should do a cryptide documentary sometime. We should learn about all
Cryptid.
of these
I
creatures.
could go for quite a bit about that, but we should focus on doing Let's Go to the Movies more than once every 6 months.
Yeah, that's a wait. Was it 6 months since the last time we watched?
We dropped it on, I think, October 19th, Lithgow's birthday. So November, December, January, February, 4 months.
4 months? Yeah, that's too long. Well,
I agree.
which we created a poll on the channel here, which was the next movie that everybody wanted us to watch.
That's Harry and the
A large
Hendersons.
number of people said wanted Harry and the Hendersons. What was the second most? Was it
Harry
Pet
and the Hendersons,
Cemetery?
Pet Cemetery, Obsession, and something else.
I think we should watch Pet Cemetery next. I would be totally down for that. I really love that movie.
No, we're gonna watch The World According to Garp. John
Oh,
Lithgow's
okay. Well,
Academy Award, Robin Williams, because I have an in between episode planned that will bridge the gap. You'll learn about
okay,
it.
okay. We'll do that then.
Yeah, so join us next time for a special episode, and then after that, The World According to Garp, maybe. Because last time we said we're going to do the Country Girl next, which we can't find a copy of. So we're not doing these
I can't find it.
chronologically.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been Lithgow to the Movies. Where can people find you there, Master Go?
www.youtube.com/MasterGo. We do music video reactions over there and also over on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/MasterGo89. We do gaming over there, just chilling and chatting.
Yeah, and I, of course,
Where can
am
they
Haussmann.
find you?
I'm Haussmann Comics. You can find me at Haussmann Comics here on YouTube, where I talk about comic books like Sasquatch stuff.
Sasquatch.
Also, I guess I do have a TikTok, is I believe Haussmann Comics on TikTok, where we just randomly talk about shit on our lunch break, Master Go and I. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Check it out if you're a TikToker.
it's pretty okay.
It's pretty
It's
okay.
pretty okay.
Anyway, how do we always end this podcast?
Oh,
With a classic line from this movie.
yeah, big guy, big guy, big guy, big guy. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay. SpongeBob, big guy, pants okay.
Goodbye, my friend.
Goodbye, my friend.
Is that what
Don't you see we don't want you here anymore?
No, we want you here. Like, subscribe. Please come back next time. We want you here. We want you here.
This is the last known sighting of Bigfoot. It looks like Bluey.
Is it Bluey? If he was in Peppa Pig, did your kid draw that, or was that you?
Yeah, that's my son.
Yeah. Damn.
Damn!
Damn. Anyway, stay hossy.
Get out of here.
And we don't stay hossy on this one. Let's get out of here.
Let's go out of here. Let's get out of here. Skedaddle.
Goodbye, my friend.